Hello friends, today we'll learn Gibbs free energy. Some reactions are spontaneous because they give off energy in the form of heat. Others are spontaneous because they lead to an increase in the disorder of the system. Calculations of delta H and delta S can be used to prove the driving force behind a particular reaction. The Gibbs free energy of a system at any moment in time is defined as the enthalpy of the system minus the product of the temperature times the entropy of the system, that is G equals to H minus Ts. The Gibbs free energy of the system is is a state function because it is defined in terms of thermodynamic properties that are state functions. The change in the Gibbs free energy of the system that occurs during a reaction is therefore equal to the change in the enthalpy of the system minus the change in the product of the temperature times the entropy of the system. Delta G equals to delta H minus delta Ts. If the reaction is run at constant temperature, this equation can be written as delta G equals to delta H minus T delta S. The change in the free energy of a system that occurs during a reaction can be measured under any set of conditions. If the data are collected under standard state conditions, the result is the standard state free energy of reaction delta G degree, delta G 0. Delta G 0 equals to delta H 0 minus T delta S 0. The standard state free energy delta G 0 of the system is negative for any reaction for which delta H 0 is negative and delta S 0 is positive. Delta G 0 is therefore negative for any reaction that is favored by both the enthalpy and entropy terms. We can therefore conclude that any reaction for which delta G 0 is negative should be favorable or spontaneous. Now let's know about favorable or spontaneous reactions. Delta G 0 is smaller than 0. Conversely, delta G 0 is positive for any reaction for which delta H 0 is positive and delta S 0 is negative. Any reaction for which delta Z 0 is positive is therefore unfavorable. On, let's know about unfavorable or non-spontaneous reaction, that is delta Z 0 is greater than 0. Reactions are either exothermic or endothermic. Exothermic means delta H is smaller than 0 and endothermic means delta H is greater than 0 on the basis of whether they give up or absorb heat. Reactions can also be either exergonic, delta G is smaller than 0, or endorgonic, that is delta G is greater than 0 on the basis of whether the free energy of the system decreases or increases during the reaction. When a reaction is favored by both enthalpy and entropy, there is no need to calculate the value of delta G 0 to decide whether the reaction should proceed. The same can be said for reactions favored by neither enthalpy nor entropy. Free energy calculations become important for reactions favored by only one of these factors. By definition, the value of delta G 0 for a reaction measures the difference between the free energy of the reactants and products when all components of the reaction are present at standard state conditions. Delta G 0 therefore describes the reaction only when all three components are present at atmospheric pressure. The sign of delta G 0 tells us the direction in which the reaction has to shift to come to equilibrium. The delta Z0 is negative for this reaction at 25 degrees centigrade, means that a system under standard state conditions at this temperature would have to shift to the right, converting some of the reactants into products before it can reach equilibrium. The larger the value of delta Z0, the further the reaction has to go to get to form from the standard state conditions to equilibrium. Relationship between the free energy of reaction, that is delta G, and the standard state free energy, that is delta Z0. The relationship between free energy of reaction at any moment in time delta G and standard state free energy of reaction delta Z0 is described as the equation delta Z equals to delta Z0 plus RT in Q. In this reaction, in this equation, R is the ideal gas constant in units of joule per mole per K, and T is the temperature in Kelvin. In it represents a logarithm to the base E, and Q is the reaction quotient at that moment in time. As we have seen, the driving force behind a chemical reaction is zero, that is delta G equals to 0 when the reaction is at equilibrium. Q equals to K. 0, now putting the value as Q equals to K, 0 equals to delta Z 0 plus RT ln K. We can therefore solve this equation for the relationship between delta Z0 and K. Delta Z0 equals to minus RT ln K. This equation allows us to calculate the equilibrium constant for any reaction from the standard state free energy of reaction or vice versa. Let's know about colligative properties. What do you mean by colligative properties? The colligative properties of solutions are those properties that depend upon the number of dissolved molecules or ions, irrespective of their kind. They are the lower of the vapor pressure, the depression of the freezing point, the elevation of the boiling point, and the osmotic pressure. These properties may be used in determining molecular weight of dissolved substances. Let's know about vapor pressure. When a non-volatile non-electrolyte is dissolved in a liquid, vapor pressure is lowered. Raoult's law gives the mathematical relation P equals to small p equals to x capital P0, where small p is the vapor pressure of the solution and capital P0 is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent, and x is the mole fraction of solvent in the solution. The lowering of the vapor pressure is not as widely used as some other colligative properties for experimental determinations of molecular weights because it is difficult to make the measurements precisely. Freezing and boiling points of solutions. The lowering of the vapor pressure by a solute also brings about other changes. The freezing point is lowered and the boiling point is raised. The amount of change delta Tf or delta Tb is determined by the molality M of the solution. The relationships are delta T equals to Kfm, delta B equals to Kbm. Each solvent has its own characteristic freezing point constant. Each solvent has its own characteristic freezing point constant Kf and boiling point constant Kb, and the changes caused by 1 mole of solute in 1 kilogram of solvent. The use of boiling point elevation to determine molecular weights is based upon the same type of calculation using Kb instead of Kf. When the substance is soluble in some suitable liquid, we can combine the empirical formula with a molecular weight determination by freezing point depression to get the true formula. Let's know about osmotic pressure. What do you mean by osmotic pressure? When solvent and solution are separated by a semi-permeable membrane that permits solvent molecules to pass, an osmotic pressure is developed in the solution. This pressure, that is pi, is defined as a mechanical pressure that must be applied to the solution to prevent solvent molecules from diffusing into it. For water solutions, the relationship between delta and the molecule and the molar concentration M is given by the equation pi equals to 0.0821 T whole into M, where pi is in atmospheres and T is the absolute temperature. The only common practical solvent for osmosis is water, so the only constant we shall consider is 0.0821. A 1 molar solution at 0.0 degrees centigrade would have an osmotic pressure of pi equals to 0.0821 whole into 273 whole into 1.00 equals to 22.4 atom. In comparison with relatively small vapor pressure, again, in comparison with the relatively small vapor pressure, lowering caused by relatively concentrated solutions, the osmotic effect is gigantic. For example, a 1.00 into 10 to the power minus 4 molar solution at 25.0 degree centigrade would have an osmotic pressure of pi equals to 0.0821 into whole into 298 whole into 1.00 into KT4 equals to 2.4845 into 10 to the power minus 3 atom equals to 1.86 torr. Because of this great sensitivity of osmosis to small changes in concentration, the measurement of osmotic pressure is particularly suitable for the determination of molecular weight of biological materials with extremely high molecular weights. Such solutions will always be of very low molality, partly because of the high molecular weight of the solution of the solute and partly because of the generally low solubility of these compounds. Let's know about colligative properties of electrolytes. If a mole of NaCl is dissolved in 1 kg of water, the freezing point is not minus 1.86 degree centigrade, as it would be for a mole of sugar on other non-electrolytes, as it would be for a mole of sugar on other non-electrolyte. Rather, the freezing point is minus 3.50 degree centigrade, a depression almost twice as great as we should expect. The theory of ionization provides an explanation for this discrepancy. When NaCl is dissolved, it breaks up into Na plus and Cl minus ions, so that these are twice as many particles in solution as there would be if the dissociation did not occur. The water does not know whether the particles are molecules or ions insofar as the colligative properties are concerned. For every mole of NaCl dissolved, we have 2 moles in solution, a mole of Na plus ions and a mole of Cl minus ions. Thus, we get an abnormal freezing point depression. Thank you. Bye.